Hello, this is Arcades, and welcome to another update video here on Stormworks Build and Rescue. And yeah, so they gave us a nice little addition with the recent update and a few fixes. But the main thing we're going to look at is this right over here. They added a new light. Yes, it's a rotating light beacon. So, hope you like what you watch. Hope you enjoy what you see. If you do, remember to like, subscribe, leave a comment. Helps out the channel immensely. And yeah. Let's check these out. Okay, so, well, I guess first things first, let's go check out the notes. Okay, here we have the rotating safety light update. Dear Stormworkers, this week's minor update introduces a new component of the rotating safety light. This component has been requested by players for creating some specific emergency or maintenance vehicles. This isn't just a small component update, but also includes several important fixes and improvements. Please see the patch notes below for details. We have been reviewing plans and player feedback, and well as working hard on many new updates. In the new year, our goal is to spend longer on some minor updates, adding some of the features and components that players want, but have been too large for previous minor updates. There are some really exciting new components and features on the way that will add a huge amount to the game and how you play Stormworks. Ooh, that sounds interesting. Let's see what they do. We plan to release a roadmap soon covering our plans for the first half of 2025. As requested by players, we are also launching a new Complete the Set bundle with a permanent discount of 15% when buying the remaining Stormworks game and DLCs. More info below. Oh, that is cool. So they're making it to where you can actually buy all the DLCs as well for cheaper, which that's good. Much love the devs. Okay, see, this makes sense. The complete collection. The complete collection makes sense. Alright, feature. Rotating warning light. Let's see, fix. Resolved issues with large mod network payloads, sometimes causing lockup. Component translation loading issues. Improved Geelish files for modding. Or approved. C4 damage behavior on static vehicles. Preset torpedo now spawns lower. I haven't had issues with that, so I'm not sure what's going on there. I think I do know. Maybe it allows it to actually spawn in the water instead of just floating on top and then drops in. Lua dock brackets mismatch. Okay, that's something in the Lua. Don't know where that's at. So, yeah. Alright, let's get back into the game. So as you saw, they added this right here. The rotating lights. Now, I've got a few examples here I want to cover. Now, we should have, I think in order, we have a normal light. This is how it normally is. Actually, you know what? Let's go into the workbench first. Okay, so don't mind this. I kind of have okay, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so we have the rotating light. A rotating light that can be controlled using an on-off signal. As a light switch, a range of 120. That's interesting. We'll have to, I have a comment about that in a moment. And shows the inputs. And when we go to actually put the part down, it's right there. You have logic, you have electric, or you have the on-off. There's no composite, electric, and nothing else. And we have our on-off switch. It's just like any other light. You just give it an on signal, it turns on, and spins. Okay, so when you go to check the part, and you have your slider, if you have, it ranges from negative 300% to 300%. The slider represents the speed of which it will spin and the direction it will spin. If it's in the positive, it spins clockwise. Woo, woo, woo. If you have it in the negative, it will spin counterclockwise. And if you have it at 0%, it just won't spin at all. And allows you to make it a fixed light. So we're going to put this, we'll demonstrate each of these at these different settings. Okay, so the normal 100% light, as you can see, goes clockwise and just spins. This is the one with 0% rotation. This is the one with negative 100%, as you see. It's going counterclockwise. And then finally, 300% counterclockwise. Or negative. Wee, 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 wee. So if I turn these off, you get a sense of what it's doing. But it might be hard to speed. It might be hard to see with this time of day. So we just made it nighttime. It's a little bit easier to see, but I think it's best if we just go ahead and turn out the lights. Beware, flashing lights. And I hit the doors. So as you can see, spins pretty good. Okay, now I have left it dark for a reason. Now, we take a look at this 100. You can see, not as bad. It's a nice smooth spin. That's nice. Now, the thing about 0%, which means it doesn't spin, allows it to turn into a stationary light that's basically a 90-degree light. So we get actually like 2 for 1 on this. I mean, it kind of, because it becomes a new light that only has a hitbox of 1 by 1. And it's a directional light. Like, the only other thing we've got like that is the spotlight. Now, you sit there thinking, well, does that mean it's a spotlight? Just a modified spotlight? No, not necessarily. It actually has a different lighting element. So, I now have this one right here. As you see it there, we have that light. I go and click this button, and you see my flashlight's off, and you see what it's lighting up. Now, if you see here, I have another thing over here. And this one has the actual small spotlight on it. You turn this on, and it's a spotlight. And this shows you the difference between the two lighting elements. The regular lights are more for flooding. And you see there is a nice even shadow all around this area where the light is hitting. It's casting a shadow on here because all the light that it's hitting is up there. So the light doesn't stretch down this far. But the rest is hitting this area. Versus the spotlight, which is actually very good at tracking the shadows of where it's hitting. Because it's on this side, it's lighting up everything on the side, and then casting the shadow on the back side. So that shows you it's not just like a remodified spotlight. It actually has the regular light going on, including even back here. Because if you come back this way, you see there's actually no shadow cast. Because the regular lights are better for flooding an area. Versus the spotlights, which are very directional. And you will see shadows and you have a hard time seeing things. But, so this also gives us the ability to actually replace lights in certain situations to give a much softer glow to an area, so to speak, out in front of you, without really, without the intensity and the shadows of a spotlight. So, yeah. So, I mean, it's not much more than that. This is what I found out in, the short time I had to mess with it so far. I haven't had a lot of chance to get on Stormworks as my current job is keeping me busy. But yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Yeah, it's a disco. Anyways, So you can see it actually lights up better than the flashlight. And you can actually turn it into a, yeah, something good for lighting areas. A lot better than the spotlight. And this is a 60-meter spotlight, too, if I remember right. Yeah, that's 60 meters right there. But this thing is rated at 120. Now, one last final note. I decided to hook one up just to a vehicle for funning galore. I need to reopen the doors. And look, this is my little attachment for my truck for fire rescue equipment. As nozzles and such. I know it's not exactly the easiest to see right now. I was trying to keep it dark so that these lights will show up. They don't seem to show up very well in the day, which is fine. I guess it might depend on the color, too. I was even trying to see if they would reflect off of things, but no, they actually seem to go through things pretty well. So it's definitely a bit interesting. Oh, and one more thing while I'm noting about it. Something I noticed. Now, when you go to place it, you have the little light head that shows you the direction it's pointing. But if you go and say you cut it, and you don't have any other point of reference, you can't see the head very well. It's there, like you can see the angle, depending if you're a thing. Now, if you're having a hard time seeing that, there is another way to tell which way it's facing. It's hard, it's not easy to see at first, but when you see it, you can use this as a guide to see how it's facing. This front edge, the way the little light's facing, is actually overlaps just slightly over the edge. The backside does not. The sides are pretty much even. So when you go to rotate this while it's cut, whoops, wrong way. So if you're trying to, from looking at it straight down, you'll notice there is a slight bulge. Of course, you can also use the light too, but if you're that close for whatever reason, you can keep that in mind, that bulge will tell is the front side of the light. So, yeah. Okay, now we're just gonna, since one of the things they covered is they made it to where the torpedo example spawns lower in the water, which if you want for that, if you come to go to load something in the workbench, you go to presets and it's right here. So we click on that. And yeah, I think it does. I think they made this arch a lot smaller. So if we spawn it, so it sits already kind of in the water. However, something I noticed when I was testing it, if you have an infinite electric on, it just starts on its own. So keep that in mind. If you're going to spawn it, make sure you have infinite electric off, or it's going to go bye-bye on its own. Oh. Doink. Of course, then you can just release, and away it goes. Okay, something I noticed as I was coming for my outro shot to talk about what we discussed, I was coming out to the oil rig to set up to show how I used it, made small little, just quick edits to bring it in, to make it interesting. So I had this small one here. I was testing to see how slow it goes. I think that's like 30% or something like that. And then over here, if you see, I've got two of them. And you notice they're not acting like they are in the example. I know the one right here is set to 300%, but I think this one's at 100%. Yeah, I think there might be an issue with the static buildings or the, because they did work properly when I originally spawned this. So, yeah, so this is just something I just noticed. As you can see, this one's working fine. So, I don't know what in particular is causing that issue. I'll have to experiment with it more to see what might be in it, because, yeah, because I did my video over near the FJ Warner, and then I came back here, so maybe the fact that it got unloaded and loaded? So, I don't know. We'll see. I'm sure it'll get fixed in the future. So, alright. So, we took a look at the new light, looked at its settings, looked at its connections for logic, saw some uses that we could use it for. So, yeah. Hope you had a good time. Hope you enjoyed it much. If you did, you know the deal. You know the spiel. This is Arcades, signing out. Have yourself a good day. Whee! Holy crap. Look at that light. That's actually a pretty good radius. Okay, well, goodbye. Whee!